Introduction to controls and formatting forms. Controls sound a lot more complicated than they really are. They simply let you view and work with the data that you have in your database. The most common control is the text box where you enter text. There are other controls too, such as command buttons, labels, checkboxes, and subform or subreport controls. That said, controls can either be bound, unbound, or calculated. Let's learn what these three terms mean. Bound controls are controls whose data sources are in a field in a table or query. Bound controls are used to display values from the fields. These values can be text, dates, numbers, yes or no values, as well as pictures and graphs. A text box that gets information from the author field, for example, in a table, is a bound control. Unbound controls don't have a source of data. You use unbound controls to display pictures, lines, rectangles, or information. A label that shows the title of a form is an example of an unbound control. Calculated controls are ones whose sources of data is an expression instead of a field. You give the value you want to use as a source of data by defining an expression. Now, an expression is simply a combination of operators such as the plus and equal signs. It can also be a combination of field names, functions that represent a single value, and constant values. The expression below tells us the sale price of the book. Data from a field in the form or reports table or a query is used for the expression. Data from another control on the form or report can also be used. An expression can use data from a field in the form or report's underlying table or query, or data from another control or form on the report. Whenever you create a form or a report, add and arrange all the bound controls first. Then add unbound controls and calculated controls. Do so by going to the Control group in the Design tab. Work in Layout or Design view. Here we have our split form. If you didn't save your split form from the previous lesson, you can recreate one. We're in Layout view and you can see the control groups in the ribbon. To insert a control onto the form, select the control you want from the ribbon by clicking on it once. In this example, I'll choose the text box. Move your mouse onto the form and you'll notice a coloured line appear where the form control will be placed. Move the mouse around and click on the form where you want the text box to go. If you want to bind a control to the field, identify the field that the control will get its data from. Just drag the field from the field list pane, which is on the right, to the form or the report. When you double-click a field on the field list pane, Access will add the appropriate control for that field to the object. If the field list pane does not show, click on the Add Existing Fields button on the Design tab, and it will display. To resize a control, go to Design View and click on the control to select it. Move your mouse over the border of the control until you see two arrows facing different ways. They are black. Now drag the control to the size that you want. What you'll notice is that instead of just the one control getting resized, all of the controls get resized. This happens even if you select a single control. To make the controls have different sizes, we need to adjust the layout. Remember when you dragged the text box and the coloured line appeared between the controls? This means that the new control is placed in a layout that is kind of like a table. To adjust our layout, we can add new columns to this layout and then resize our new text box. To add a new column, select any of the text boxes. And under the Arrange tab, click on Insert Right. The dotted line border here indicates that the border of the layout will be extended. You can now drag and drop fields to different locations in this table. When you create a form, Access stacks the fields vertically in the report with the labels to the left of each field. For example, the customer field would show customer on the left and then the customer's name on the right. Using a layout for your form is optional unless you're going to publish the form to the web. If you're going to publish the form to the web, you must use layouts or the form won't be compatible with the publishing feature. You can see the form here that we've created. We can drag and drop any field, such as the field that contains the author, to move it anywhere else in the form. The field label will be moved with it. However, it will remain in a table-style layout, which means we can't put it anywhere we like. We can change this using the Arrange tab. In Access 2013, you can place controls horizontally as well as vertically. To change this, select a control and then select either stacked or tabular on the table group within the Arrange tab. You can also merge cells and split cells using the Arrange tab on the ribbon if you want to adjust the size of some fields. Use the Insert Above and Insert Below to insert new rows and columns. Type in a cell to enter a label. Remember, each cell is a control that contains data from your table or query. Labels describe the contents of the cell. Go to the Control Formatting group under the Format tab to format your controls, add outlines, colours, and more. If you want to have more control over the items in your form, you can remove the table layout entirely. To do this, select all controls by pressing Ctrl A, go to the Arrange tab, and select Remove Layout. The controls will then have little grey boxes appearing on them. You can now drag them wherever you like. By default, when you move a control that has a label, the label will be moved with it. To move the controls separately, click and drag the large grey box in the top left of the control. As you can see, it's now been moved on its own. Whenever you use a form, you can switch between the controls just by pressing the Tab key. However, you can also tell Access the order of the controls will go in when you press the Tab key. For example, if, by default, when you hit Tab, it goes from Ctrl A to B to C, you can change the tab order so it goes from B to A to C. By default, the tab order is from top to bottom and then from left to right. But if you modify a form, the tab order might not relate to the location of the controls anymore. For example, you may go from a control at the top of the form to one at the bottom. If you need to change the tab order, you can go to the navigation pane, select the form, and open up in Design View. If you have the form already open, click on the Home tab and click on the View button and go to Design View. In the Design tab, under the Tools group in the ribbon, click on Tab Order. Now drag and drop the items in the custom order to change the tab order. Click on the grey box to the left of each item to select and drag it. Click OK. If you click Auto Order, Access will create the top to bottom, left to right tab order. The themes are located under the Design tab. You can use themes to change the colour scheme and fonts of your forms. To do this, click the downward arrow besides the themes. You'll then see the theme you're currently using as well as other choices. If you want to choose your own colours and fonts, click either the colours or fonts to change what you want and customise your forms.